So, welcome to this melt season update number 7. And I'm gonna go out on a limb now and declare that there will not be a Blue Ocean event, a BOE, in 2021. At least it doesn't look like it, but of course there is still 10 weeks more of the melt season still to go, and it will be very decisive in the next, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks as we head into early August. But for now, I would say that this is not going to be the year that we go to virtual ice-free in the Arctic Ocean. And we will look at 4 new weeks of volume data and also 5 new weeks of extent data for sea ice, and the volume goes up to June 26th because of that's the last full week of melt we have for Pyoma's sea ice volume, and the extent goes to July 7th, so that the extent is 11 days more recent. And in a week we will have 2 or 3 more weeks of volume, so there will be a new update next Saturday. So to start off with this volume chart, these are the new weeks: 1215, 1391, 1737 and 1970. So you can see from the color that these are yellow, so they are higher than the previous decade, the normal. The yellow color means it's higher than the average melt for those weeks, but you can see that it is not the red level melt that we have to have in order to go to a Blue Ocean event. And you can also see the individual days here from the latest to the earlier ones. You see only yellows and greens, so these are sort of safe level melt, if you will. So not very much to say about that. You can see that it kind of peaks around solstice time when the insolation, the strength of the sun is highest, and then it kind of fades a bit. After that, we'll see in the next 2 or 3 weeks if that is a trend that it's over the top. So, okay. But at least you can see that for every week there is a higher volume melt, at least. So that's something going for it. Over to extent. I said we have 5 new weeks of extent, so these are the 4 yellow and 1 green down here are the weeks. Pretty decent. The latest week, 841. Not the highest on record, but at least it's the highest extent melt for 2021 so far. And that's actually the week 1 or 2 weeks, 2 weeks after summer solstice, so it's really taking hold now. But it's still a yellow level melt, so we especially for extent, we absolutely have to have red level or maroon level melt for every single week from now till end of melt season in order to have a Blue Ocean event. So it doesn't look like that, does it? You have some pretty decent numbers here for 3 days, but 3 days is not gonna cut it, and doesn't even make the last week red or maroon. So that's how that is going. And yeah, and even the slightly better week that we had for 2020 with these colorful days isn't going up to red level map. So it actually really quite a way to go for 2021 until you would have a red level. So thank you very much. So I may have come out pretty fortunate the last time when I chose to go in at the deep end and criticize a fresh climate report from June in one specific report by only looking at the first sentence of the abstract. And in that first sentence, it was very clear that the authors put what you call the cart before the horse, so that they were saying that if we warm so and so much, then we may trigger feedback mechanisms that will warm the temperature, right? So that's like saying, for a musical or an audio person, it's like saying, if I sing loud enough, I may trigger the speaker feedback thing, making the sound go louder and louder. But it's the other way around. If you trigger the feedback, the sound gets louder and louder, right? So later in June, you had the release of the entire UN climate report leak, or we didn't get the 4,000-page report itself, but we got a press or a journalistic write-up about the report from AFP, the French news service. And the fortunate thing about this cart before the horse thing, to sort of criticize a climate report on a really, really deep stuff, is that the UN climate report that only comes out in late February 2022. But we don't have to read to wait for the reporter to read the report, because already from the leak and the reporting on the leak, we know that they're doing the exact same thing. They are attributing the warming that we see already to some future tipping points, to some future points of no return, that when broken or when tipped will make it warmer, like we're seeing today. So it's like they are kind of saying that today it's warming for no reason, and if we go over the tipping point for the methane, the permafrost, and the ice caps and the sea ice, then only then will it get warmer, right? So what they're really hiding is the fact that we already crossed those tipping points, and doubtless many more. For instance, the ocean and the Amazon, they have also started to emit carbon instead of soaking it up. So in case after case, these tipping points of no return, things we shouldn't cross, they have been crossed, but they still keep talking about them like they are something we could avoid. They haven't already happened. They are in the future. Yeah. And why doesn't it make sense? Why won't this thing go? It's because you misunderstood something very, very basic. So this is the normal way that people used to travel with horse and carry. You have the horse here, and you sit on wheels behind here, and the horse sort of drags you through the street or through the city and to the next city. So how could they make this get this so wrong? I got actually really good help from Reddit. There was a comment on Reddit for my last video, and someone there suggested that, okay, so you're unfamiliar with having the cart before the horse, but it's not unthinkable. Let's see here. So if you have this as the regular setup, and we're talking about, going over the cliff and going into collapse, then you have this one sort of tipping over the edge of the cliff, and then you have another variation is this one where everything is upside down. And if you see a horse and carry falling like this, like with the cart down, or leading the fall, the cart down and the horse up here, then obviously it's in a free fall situation, so it's over the cliff, it's in collapse. And the suggestion from this guy on Reddit was that the fact that the not only the one single climate report, but also the collective United Nations climate panel report still make these so-called mistakes, still make these cart before the horse things. The reason I do that is actually indicative that we are over the cliff. It's sort of their part semi-hidden way of admitting that we are in collapse. We're over the cliff, we're in free fall, and even our logic as humans and as United Nations and as a climate panel is now a collapsed logic. We can't tell it like it is. We have to lie about these tipping points and these points of no return. And the fact that you can actually read black on white in these reports a warped up logic like this is your best sign that it is already way too late. This is over the edge, we are over the edge, this thing is going south.
It looks like it's going, if I understand course right, it looks like this is going south.
It looks like it's going, if I understand course right, it looks like this is going south.
You may know him from his own YouTube channel, Going South, although he seems to be going north every time I talk to the man at his YouTube channel, Going South.
Yes.
You know, we had Jeremy
Yeah,
Corbyn,
everything's going south.
Yeah, everything
sure.
is
It's all
going
going south, right?
Yeah.
Right,
So,
it's going south, but that it's not all or nothing. It doesn't mean that it goes south until everything completely vanishes.
yeah, but do you think
Right, which many people can easily say that,
Yeah.
it's all going south. There's absolutely
Okay.
nothing we can do.